Hello one, hello all, it is the gothiest ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Colin Stetson, When We Were That What Wept for the Sea. Nailed it, I hope. Anyway, Colin Stetson is a multi-instrumentalist, mostly known for his tremendously intricate and tremendously skilled saxophone playing. But the man is back. He's been at it for like over a decade now with a very hefty catalog. Whether it's his solo material, which I highly recommend, Part 2, Judges, great album, definitely showed off a lot of variation to one instrument and just made it so completely epic. And I could get into that, but that's another album. Go get that album, because I'm getting my copy, and I wish I could get a copy of this. Also digging into ventures such as movie scores, such as Hereditary. Yeah, he's definitely been keeping himself busy, and now he's back with this album here, and I am immensely satisfied with this. This thing is 70 minutes, way over an hour, and 16 cuts, and it is quite the experience. And this thing is beautiful, definitely well balanced too. It definitely has like a mesmerizing beauty to it, but also an inescapable foreboding feel to it as you're listening to it. Especially on the title track, which has these rapid, wild, crazy sax arpeggios with this angelic droning harmony like going through it. And I just can't help but be engulfed in it, but also entranced at like the same time. It's like very hypnotic. And also with the chord progression of the sax, it feels like I'm listening to a keyboard, but I'm not. Like I'm listening to a very well executed and interestingly mixed chord progression. And it's so wild. It's like, it sounds like a keyboard, but I can't believe it's not keyboard. I still can't believe it's not keyboard. Also, these drones make you feel like there's like a monster at sea just lurking, and he's coming for you. Also, I want to say is how enchanting the choral vocals at the end of this are. It's a very, very awe-inspiring experience here, and truly enchanting. Also, I want to mention too how it's really no surprise that these tracks have such a terrorizing but yet a beauty and warmth to them. I mean, the man did do scores for like horror movies, so it's really no surprise here that he would be able to create a terrifying scene with music. We also get the 5 chapters Lighthouse, which we will get into later. The song Infliction has like this demented, lumbering groove to it, and it feels like zombies are just like rising from the sea and wanting to like take over the ship. These haunting melodies and impulsive arpeggios just make you feel like the zombies are coming closer, just creating like a more unsettling scene. And as they're getting closer, you're just like, no, no, no. And then they get you, and then just take you down and just drag you right down to the bottom of the sea. Sea Zombies, in theaters soon. Passage is probably my least favorite track on here. It has a very odd pace to it, and it kind of ends before it begins, if you know what I mean. But not to worry, because we do get a robust cut on here. We do get a robust cut on here. They are not scant with the robustness. I know it's probably not a word, but I'm making it a word. And it is the longest track on here, probably the most epic on here too, which is the long Before the Sky Opened. Pulsating rhythms and evocative but yet stunningly beautiful harmonies. Even though the rhythm is pulsing and it's being played fast, the linear harmonies really make you feel like you're moving in slow motion. A very bright but yet disturbing dream. It's pretty much like you're running towards like a past lover, and she's like running to you, and like this bright scenery, and you're just running towards each other. And as soon as you're about to meet again, this roaring melody just comes in and just swallows you up and just takes you away, and you're like, no, come back to me. And you're just paralyzed in trauma and fear. And then comes in the forlorn melody, which really simplifies the feeling of the desolation. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of the anime Berserk, just a little bit in terms of the whole feel and the melodies just going through this very ominous instrumentation. Fireflies, I would say, is definitely more nocturnal, and it is pretty celebratory, even though it's so dark. The Surface and the Light has these meditative melodies and ascending harmonies, pretty much creating a crescendo between the ascending and the descending harmonies here. And it just has like an aquatic feel to it, like the way the arpeggios are makes it sound like it's bubbling, and the breathing from Colin makes it sound like it's the ocean. I know, it's weird, but it creates like a scene where you're just like at the bottom of the sea and you're just like swimming up, and like you're having like visions of like seeing a mermaid, and you're just going after that mermaid. And as the melodies create like a crescendo, like an ascending tone, that's basically just you just like swimming to the surface, to the light. The sky has these hurried galloping grooves. It's intense. It's like I'm being chased by like some creature that I can't see. And the roaring sax just creates like so much intensity and so much paranoia. With like these heavy clunks and blaring saxes, it really creates a suspenseful feeling for me. Like it really has me on like the edge of my seat, just wondering what's gonna happen next. It's pretty astonishing how with the mix and like the sax and everything going on, like you could create such a scene, such like a scene of like so much emotion, be it terror, being awe. Like this is really illustrative directing with music here. Now, as I alluded to earlier, there are 5 chapters, Lighthouse, so I will get into them. For the most part, they're pretty droning, very ethereal, but have like a beauty to them, but also, as I said before, like an ominous feel. You really get that on the first one, but there's a variation throughout, with these ambient and chilling bagpipes on the second one. And the 4th chapter is very dark, very ominous. Funny, for a song called Lighthouse, it definitely does have like a lot of darkness here, and the vibrating tones just create more intensity here. The last one, which is the longest of the bunch, has a pretty narrative and spoken word piece from Lara, and you pretty much get an idea of what this album was illustrating, what it's going for, but my observations still stand. Okay, and you can make your observations too. This is like a make your own movie type album. And the ending is so triumphant. It's like absolute victory here. Like you feel like you've made it. It sounds very thematic. The strings create a very thematic moment here. The thematic saxes, the fluttering arpeggios is just beautiful. It's like you're getting off the boat and you're realizing it was all a dream, and you're seeing your past lover again, and you run into their arms and give a big hug and a kiss, and then you're seeing all your family members again. And it's just a very beautiful, touching moment. And the closer Safe With Me for me is like more of a roll credits moment, but still beautiful and still captures the essence of the album and a great way to close off. So yeah, overall, I dug this album. Sure, there are some tracks that meandered, sure, there were some tracks that cut a little short before they began, but that doesn't really happen too often, or don't really add too much to what I already heard before and kind of paints itself into a corner, but that doesn't happen very often here. Mostly I'm getting very thematic, very innovative, very compelling, and like I said before, very haunting experience here. It's like composing a movie in my mind as I'm experiencing Colin just be innovative with his way of playing the sax, with accompanied of other features and instruments on here. But overall, great album, compelling album, gorgeous album. Loved it. I am feeling a 4.5 out of 5 hearts on this album. But if you've given it a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And let me know. Let me know in the comments why you loved it, or why you hated it, or why you felt in between. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, Colin Stetson, Till we meet again.